Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
All right, so Juggalos in Recovery Wednesday night meeting. What we're talking about is building good habits in your life and possibly ditching bad ones. I picked this one because we're coming up on the new year, and a lot of people want to wait till the new year to make like good new habits and whatnot. Um, and it's always good to start building them bitches now. You know, like if you wait and then you start it on New Year's and then you don't like you skip a day, people tend to like just drop that and not follow through with it. So it's always good just to build them now and then kind of move forward. And we've talked about this in the past, and I brought it up too because for a while I was burned out like really, really bad for a minute there, doing the same routine, the same habits, the same thing over and over and over again. And so I had to take a step back and actually stop doing a lot of my habits that I was doing and uh, just needed a break and needed a change. So I've changed it up. I don't do some of the things that I was doing. I do other things that are very similar that bring me, joy too, because the whole point of like a habit or, a routine that you're doing is to um, do something that you enjoy. But basically, it just says here our habits shape who we are. Um, Forming positive habits isn't easy and it takes a while to break an old habit, depending on your healthy habits or bad habits. Um, it really determines whether it determines your happiness or your healthiness. If you're strong or tired or well rested, I mean, it really depends on your habits. They shape your attitudes, actions, and decision making abilities, and they affect every aspect of your life. But before, you know, we all kind of know what a habit is, but it kind of goes into it. So, what is a habit? A habit is a tendency to do something, whether harmful or health promoting. A good habit will help you reach your goals, develop your personality professionally, and feel fulfilled. However, not all habits are good. Obviously, there's bad habits. It's, what happens when we form those bad habits, and then we get into a rut or whatever. Um, Most habits are driven by reward seeking mechanisms in your brain. They're often triggered by something specific. For instance, walking past the cafe and smelling the coffee and might trigger you to want a cup of coffee. And some people smell certain things and then they'll like want liquor or they'll want that, the taste of whatever. And there's certain smells that like make me like remember, like almost taste like the meth pipe, that I was hitting, or like the drip that you get when you're done. You know what I mean? It's just that'll trigger, right? So there's uh, feeling stressed at work can trigger you to smoke a cigarette type thing. So after a while, habits become a repetitive part of your lifestyle. Uh, you know, Brushing your teeth after a meal, that's a habit, or brushing them before you go to bed. Putting on your seatbelt when you get inside a car, that's a habit. Drinking a glass of wine when you get home from work, or whatever you know is. And some of these things you just do automatically because you're just so ingrained in that habit. So eating sugary or salty foods when you're stressed, fidgeting, things like that. So forming habits is the brain's way of being more efficient. As far as the brain is concerned, the more tasks you can complete without wasting time thinking about them, the better. And our brain's tendency towards efficiency can be positive. For instance, drinking a green smoothie every morning benefits your health, and not having to relearn how to drive your car every day means you have reliable transportation. Of course, this efficiency can also be negative. For instance, biting your nails every time you have a meeting at work can wreak havoc on your nails. Um, I chew the shit out of my fingers when I'm like stressed about things and I don't even know I'm doing it. And then somebody will be like, my wife will be like, what's wrong with you? What's going on? You're ripping apart your hands. Like, uh, so there's a difference between habits and routines. So what I was talking about going to the gym and all that, there are differences between that. The main difference between a habit and a routine is awareness. Both are regular repeat actions, but while habits run on autopilot, routines are intentional. Um, getting in your car and automatically putting on your seatbelt without even thinking about it, that's a habit. Uh, Routines need deliberate practice or they'll eventually die out, but a habit happens with little or no conscious thought. For instance, a gratitude practice requires intention and effort. It won't run on autopilot. The same thing is true for exercise. You're not going to start exercising on autopilot, but you have the habit. You'll, I don't know why it says you'll grab a cigarette on autopilot, but you'll grab a cigarette if if that's what your habit is. Let's see, the science of habits, blah, blah. This section it just breaks it down. How do they form? Habit forming is the process in which behaviors become automatic. For instance, you wash your hands as a child, you wash your hands for certain things. Uh, Replacing that nightly glass of wine with like some water or something else um, is going to help you kind of break that bad habit and put in a good one. So, if you're coming home and drinking a beer, you might just come home and drink, like, if you can sleep after that coffee or whatever. Some people drink coffee at night, right? So, um, it's a better option for you. That'll, instead of wanting to grab that beer automatically, you're going to want to grab the water. So that's a routine that you build into a habit, right? You come home, you force yourself to grab some water. Eventually, it's going to become a habit. One thing to keep in mind is that the habit process, it doesn't happen occasionally. It's an endless feedback loop that's running, you know. Uh, and then it talks about the habit loop. This Charles, I don't know how to say his last name, author of The Power of Habit, says that at the core of every lasting habit is a psychological pattern called the habit loop. The habit loop includes four-step pattern that all habits proceed through. So cue or trigger, which is like a smell or like you getting off work or you're getting in your car, and then you have like a craving, like response, and then reward. And then it goes into each one. So cue, the trigger, it analyzes your mind is like constantly analyzing your environment for hints of where rewards are located. And I'll stop, like pause there for a second, because a lot of the things that we do, like in addiction, we do because we're trying to feed a certain part of our brain the reward system, right? So, when you're building these routines and habits, you're looking for reward in your brain, and that's what your brain's doing. It's kind of scanning. So, like money or love, this step triggers your brain to start a behavior. Since the cue means you're close to a reward, it'll naturally lead to the second step, the craving. Cravings are motivational force behind every habit. They give you a reason to act. However, what you are craving isn't the habit itself, but rather the change in state you get from it. So, kind of feeding uh, that part of your brain. You crave a glass of wine because of the relief it brings. You crave wearing your seatbelt because it makes you feel safe. In the end, cravings stem from a desire to change your internal state. So, like the other day, I got in my car and I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to put on my seatbelt. But like halfway through driving, I put my seatbelt on because it made me feel like secure to the seat, more like not, I don't know if it was like a safe feeling, but it's like I am fucking in this, like I'm strapped to this seat, and it felt better for me when I was driving. So like I just can't physically not wear my seatbelt because it was one of those things. But so I crave wearing my seatbelt, right? Because it makes me feel safe or whatever. So the response to that, the response is the habit you perform. It can take the form of a thought or an action. Responding depends on how motivated you are and how challenging it is to perform the behavior. For example, just getting in the car and putting on my seatbelt, that's easy. And it feeds that reward. Which brings us to the reward. The goal of the habit is the reward. The cue notices the reward. The craving wants the reward, and response obtains the reward. So again, you're feeding these cravings in your brain, and then eventually it just becomes automatic. So We chase rewards for two reasons. They satisfy our cravings and they teach us which actions we should remember in the future. So our brains are like little stamps, like once you or a rut, like people describe it as like ruts in the road. You build these ruts and your brain stays in them because it's safe and it feels good to, have those uh, ruts to kind of guide the way. It says, how long does it take to form a new habit? And then there's a study in 2009. Building habits takes around 66 days before the habit change becomes automatic. Um, so when I was first getting sober, a lot of my routines and habits like had to change. Like there was no, I had to do it or else I'd go back out. So I think mine took like 90 days for a lot of them to really set in. Um, because you're going to fail in between there, right? So I failed at a lot of my routines and my habits that I did. Instead of ripping the bong before I went to bed, right, I had to like do something else, and I would watch a movie and get some food, uh, kind of wind down for the night, things like that. I just changed the way I was doing stuff. Um, the choice of habit was a major part of how long it took for the study to show how long a habit changed. So the like choice of habit and how like serious it is, some of them took between 18 and 254 days. I mean, that's a huge number. So I would say more of like addiction, people coming out of addictions, probably more than 66 days, but I would say it's less than the 250 days because it just depends on how severe it is. Anyway, there's changing habits, the mistakes to avoid. Um, you're trying to change too many habits at once. Getting sober, that's just what I had to do. But if you're trying to change too many, that's probably a mistake. You're not committed to the habit change. So if you're not trying to quit smoking and um, you like forcing yourself to do it, you might have some trouble there. You're too focused on the outcome. So, you know, uh, the outcome of not smoking, you can breathe better, right? And all of that. But if you're struggling to quit, even you're not really breathing all that better. I don't know. It's a shitty example. Um, you assume that small changes don't add up, which fucking small changes add up over time. I think everybody who has some sobriety under their belt really knows that those small steps do add up. Let's see. I'm going to skip all of that. So building good habits, you'll replace the old ones. Here are 7 ways to kind of get there. So eliminate triggers, identify the people, places, and activity that are linked in your mind to bad habits. They change your behavior, then change your behavior towards those. So that, in addiction, that's changing your friend status, your friend circle, who's in your circle, right? Uh, kind of changing that. Um, if you want to quit smoking, don't go outside when your friends take a smoke break for a little while. Because if you go out, you're probably just gonna reducing cravings. Remember, cravings stem from a desire to change your internal state. This means you can reduce cravings by identifying how you want to feel, then use a healthier action to achieve that feeling. For instance, if you're craving relaxation, take a bath instead of smoking. If you're craving energy, eat a banana instead of drinking your third cup of coffee for the day. I don't think bananas give you all that much energy over coffee, but you know, whatever that means for you. Uh, make a negative habit difficult. You can only exist, the habit can only exist if it's easy enough for you to engage in. If you make it difficult, you won't be able to do it. For instance, if you have a bad habit of staying up too late, start work early in the morning. If you know you'll be physically exhausted or running on a few hours of sleep, you'll think twice before staying up late. Uncover the root of your bad habit. For instance, you'll discover that you stress eat because you need coping tools. So develop some coping tools, meditation, whatever. Excuse me. Adopting healthy routines. Building a good habit boils down to lifestyle choices. And one of the best ways to change your lifestyle is improving your daily routine. So there was a difference between routine and habits. But if you develop a routine of, like, say, going to the gym, you're going to develop habits that are associated with that. Um, you know, showering and eating certain things to, like, build your muscles back up or whatever. Those things become the habit in the routine. So swap a bad habit for a better habit. I mean, instead of, like we were talking about, instead of drinking that beer, drink some water or drink some coffee or some tea or some shit, or, instead of eating cake, you know, you can, like, go for a baked, like, apple or something, like when I got sober and I started going to the gym and stuff and kickboxing and all that, I replaced, like, all of my meals with, like, almost, it was like chicken and Brussels sprouts and apples is all I ate for, like, months. Which sounds shitty, but if you cook them in a different way every time, like, they, get a better flavor out of, like, your food. It's not like eating the same thing every day. Uh, that helped me out a lot. That was a huge, motivation to eat better and change my habit through the routine. Build some motivation. You'll need to believe two things. You have a choice and freedom to act how you want, and a task will teach you something new and make you a better person. So if you don't believe it's going to make you a better person, and all of that, you have to really believe it and want it to happen. Again, forcing yourself to do something, unless it's complete sobriety, like I had to force myself. That's just the way it was. One of the best ways to believe is learning how to deal with those negative emotions. So in sobriety, right, we're always dealing with these negative emotions. I still freaking have them. Like, uh, I was burned out for a while there. Like, my negative thoughts creep in on me. Like, I'm probably meaner to myself than anybody else ever could be. Um, so deal with those negative emotions. They're going to make it a lot easier. Making your goal public, you can tell a close friend or announce it on social media or whatever to make your personal goal public, which is kind of shitty though, too, because, like, if you're going on a diet and then somebody sees you eating cakes, they're like, I thought you were on a fucking diet, you know, fuck you, man. But it also motivates you to, like, maybe keep that going. So again, make it part of your schedule, like, if you smoke, like, every break, maybe, like, only smoke on lunches or something, and then eventually you'll stop doing it on breaks, and you're only going to do it on lunches, and then kind of morphs over that period of time. Um, we're on this meeting together for a reason, so create a supportive environment, get people that have your back or in your corner. Um, maybe people that have been down that road before, especially AA, Al-Anon, all that shit. If you're trying to, uh, quit bad habits, in a whatever. Reminders, you can put, like, little sticky notes up, you know, in your bathroom or in the break room or wherever, just, like, reminding you, don't fucking smoke, don't eat that cake, like, whatever it is, you can create reminders, put them in your phone. Be compassionate to yourself. This shit all takes, like, time. If you fail one day, it doesn't mean you can't pick it up the next day. Um, Time and time again, we see people relapse. And the important thing is that the next day or even the next hour, that they're back on their shit again. So, be kind to yourself and all. And then um, that's pretty much it. That's the end of the little spiel here. Um, I just thought it was good because, if we're going to build these new routines and new habits into the new year, why not fucking start them now? With that, I'm going to shut up and let you all share your meeting. So if you got some shit to say, just raise your hand or just start talking and we'll go from there. Anyone? Anyone? Too bad I can't put, like, memes up here like that Euler guy. I can just throw up Euler. Okay, let's see if I can do
Bueller,
that.
Bueller,
Let's see.
Bueller. I'll go. I'll share.
Do it.
Yeah, that was That was interesting topic, habits and stuff, because like it takes like, well, from my experience, you know, in and out of many rehabs and you know, local or state correction facilities, you know what I mean? They say it takes 28 days to form a habit. Some habits are deemed unnecessary, like when I like smoking, for example. Like I'm thinking to myself, because I vape now, I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, probably because I'm too broke to get them. But um,
Yeah, man, I don't know
you
how
know,
anybody smokes.
you know, but I mean, oh, if you can afford it, you want what you want, you get what you want. You know what I'm saying? But like for me, it's just like I'm trying to like stop it. You know what I mean? But it's like you said, weaning it. You know what I mean, bit by bit. But at the same time, it's like that habit. It's like, what is it doing for me? You know what I mean? It's just like I'm smoking. You know what I mean? But overall, some habits are good, you know, and some habits that we do, we don't even realize we do without doing. Like, for example, you were talking about like something as simple as putting your seatbelt on. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like the habits I started to incorporate when I got sober was like holding like the door open for somebody or doing a good deed. You know what I mean? Randomly throughout the day. You know what I mean? And then it incorporated into me actually like started to being selfless. You know what I mean? Over time, then we give a shit about people, and then people give a shit about us. You know what I mean? And then it's just like beautiful things start to happen, and you just, you know what I mean? But it's about maintaining your character for me, at least. You know what I mean? Remembering where I came from, remembering what habits benefited me and what didn't. You know what I mean? But as as well as I do by myself, I do even better with strong support network. You know what I mean? I have my soon to be wife who's gonna fucking help me out, like, you know, I help her. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just about those connections, and it's just, you know, that's what it is. Just the bond, the connections, and the reminders, and how we can just continue to go forward and be the best versions of ourselves that we can. You know what I mean? Because we're human at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We're gonna make mistakes, and we're not gonna fucking do, you know, great things, but you know, we do our best with what we have, you know what I mean? And we give our all. So I'm gonna shut up.
Oh man,
Much
that's no man, that's good shit. And the first point, like I don't know how anybody affords cigarettes. It's fucking insane. But the other point you made, like I tried to you know, do the next right thing like over and over again. And one of them was like you were saying, kind of being of service, right? So I would just put like simple things like put my shopping cart back when I was fucking done. I used to just leave that shit wherever, and like I would like put it back and I'd force myself to do it. I'd be like, ah, fuck, I gotta do, and then now I just do it like automatically. I didn't even think about it the other day. It's just those little acts of like trying to be a better person. I don't know. But it's like a habit now that I do. I just started doing it. It's like,
And it's like you were saying too, homie, like the little things count. You know what I mean? And that's just a constant reminder. I've been hearing that a lot, you know.
yep,
And
absolutely.
every day I talk to Cassie, she reminds me of that. It's little things, you know, and it's true. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's just reminding ourselves of the little things that gradually build into the bigger, huge things. You know what I'm saying? It's like we hold the arrows in a bundle together, try to break it. They're not going to break versus one will break, you know?
Yep. All right. Anybody else want to share? I'm gonna put up the fucking Bueller again. And if not, it's cool. Like, this meeting's for you guys. If you don't feel like you need to share, that's totally cool too. But what do y'all got on habits?
Um, um, I like what you were talking about when, like, say it's the New Year's time or whenever, and you're trying to do something different, and then somebody sees you slipping, and then they're like, "Oh, I thought you said you weren't gonna do this anymore." That type of shit right there is like a lot of reasons why I quit doing shit there, or they'll go like, "Oh, I knew you weren't really gonna quit," and then I'm just like, "Oh, fuck it, that's what people think anyway." So then I end up not doing it, which was kind of funny because it was the exact opposite with my recovery. It was more like everybody thought I would never quit, so it was more out of spite to start with. And right now, I've just been trying to like not eat sweets So far I'm on week 3, and all I've had was a slice of carrot cake because it got bought for my birthday, and then I didn't even finish it. Like, so just trying to eat a little bit healthier because I've been going reckless for like since last holiday season, honestly. And I'm feeling it with my weight and my breathing and my range of motion and everything. So just trying to go back into healthier eating habits right now, just so I feel better in general.
Yeah, man.
And
You know, I
it's
did
kind
a
of
lot.
rough.
I did a lot of shit just out of spite. You know what I mean? So when people say that shit to me, like when people say that shit to me, it's like, you know, at first it sucks and it's hurtful or whatever, but then I just do like I go harder. You know what I mean? For me anyway. But it's dope, man. I'm glad to hear you're starting to take back your, you know, your health a little bit, and it's not easy.
Now, if I could just cut down on cigarettes and energy drinks and caffeine, that'd be great.
Right. That's another thing. I stopped doing energy drinks, man. And I just do like I almost just went straight to black coffee. Um, but yeah, that shit wasn't easy, man, because I'd have like a few a day, you know, and it's like,
Yeah, I'm on like 2 coffees and 2 energy drinks a day right now, and I just wish I can cut out the energy drinks because I done had kidney stones twice since the gathering from that shit and not drinking enough water.
yeah. And then I had one, and my wife's like, I thought you were quitting energy drinks. So then I said the next day that's when I quit. I was like, fuck you. I'm not gonna have any more then. Come at me. Fuck. But yeah, kidney stones, man. I used to have when I was drinking, because I drank like a lot, and the kidney stones were so bad. Like, um, they had to do like an ultrasound and stuff one time. Like, it was fucked up. Good on you, man. That's the shit. How much are cigarettes now? Like $10?
Actually, surprisingly, where I'm at, depending on where you go, 2 packs of Marlboro Red Special Selects are anywhere from like 10.50 to 13 and some change.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's worse. It's worse than I thought.
It's like
What is
17.
cheaper? That's 2 packs.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
17.
For 2 packs? That's it for two
2 packs.
packs?
That's not bad
Yeah,
at
down
all.
here in Florida, it's like 10.50 to 13, depending on where you go.
That's cheap.
What
That's like
area you're in.
$25 over here for 2 packs of Newports. I pay like $25.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Newports are still like 8 something a pack. Regular Marlboros are like 7 to 8 something a pack, but if you get the special selects, they're way cheaper.
Yo, a pack of Newports is like $16, $17 a piece, yo.
Yeah, but you up in York, right?
Unfortunately. Temporarily.
Yeah, that's what they say about New York. If you want cigarettes and a drink, take a 20. You ain't getting no change.
High as fate. I hate it.
When I quit, they were like $3.98 a pack, something like that.
Isn't it in New York too? You can't buy big gulps anymore, like the big ass fountain drinks.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know.
they did
I,
outlaw that
I
shit a while back.
did they?
Yeah, like big ones. That's
I,
why they don't sell 3 liters anymore. You know, they don't have 3 liters of Fago anymore.
I mean, at fast food places, where's the king size shit at? You know what I mean? Like they had the large and the king size, like the bucket shit. Diabetes.
Yeah, I just know it was some state that like banned like the largest drink you could get at 7-Eleven or some shit.
Maybe it was Utah. I don't know.
No, it was somewhere up north, but I don't think it was Utah.
I don't know.
Like I don't never hear about Utah ever, so I doubt
I don't know what goes on in Utah.
it. Me neither. Do they even got a football team? I have no idea.
Polygamy and shit. I have no idea. Was it the polygamist that lived there? I don't even know. Like I was in
It's the
Colorado.
Mormons over there.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, no wonder I don't hear anything about Utah. They don't have cell phones.
Drive around in buggies and shit.
That's why I said they outbanned the big gulps.
Yeah. You want your big gulp, eh? It's Canada, I think. Anyway, Canada's fucking dope. I was walking around there and there was like this weed looking shop, and like it wasn't weed they were selling in there. It was like mushrooms. You can go in there and buy like a fucking gang of mushrooms, like just like a
Salvia.
crazy.
It sounds yeah.
No, it's like you can like buy. I don't know what did you say? Selling what?
Salvia.
No, these are actual mushrooms. Like
Okay, because I
like
don't know, because I grew up in Niagara Falls, New York, so that's like right next to Niagara Falls, Canada. So I walk over and they had the same type of shit you're talking about because it was like Clifton Hill, the shops and shit. You know what I mean? You go in, they have like paraphernalia everywhere, and then they have like you said, the mushrooms, and they had like salvia. And I remember being a little ass fucking kid, 17, and smoking this shit, and it makes you trip for like 10 minutes.
yeah.
Like you just drop like a whole Bible of acid. My retarded ass, like it was crazy. Sorry.
No, you're good. It just blew
I
me
was
away that they
I
sell
was on
mushrooms.
papers once right before they quit selling the salvia, and I remember my homeboys got it for me, like the strongest one you can get too. And it was like it was an all black Toyota Matrix, and he had black shag carpet covering all in the car. And I remember we were headed towards Jack's Beach, and I fucking killed the whole bowl. And just a couple minutes later, like everything started to swirl, and I was just laughing. And then when I came to, we were at the beach. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, I was like, what's going on? They're like, bro, you were just laughing uncontrollably for the last 10, 15 minutes. And I'm like, holy shit.
And then you
The
time
fuck?
travel. You're a time
Yeah.
traveler. All right, I'm gonna stop this recording.